Hey everyone, Diavolo here, and welcome back to my review for chapter 229 of Tokyo Revengers. If you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews and just other anime content in general, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, enough of that, let's get into this review. So, chapter 229 starts out, and it's not exactly where we left off in 228 with South and Senju. It kind of starts out, and we actually get this tagline, which I find extremely interesting right on the side of it, and it's like, on to the next stage of the great battle. Senju vs South and Mikey vs Kakucho. So this is something that, I've been wanting to see for a while. The man himself, Mikey, go up against the force of nature, Kakucho. So I can't wait to see this fight go down. I don't know if it's going to be in this chapter exactly. I don't think it is. But at least it's giving us a foreshadowing to what could possibly be coming throughout the next chapters. Kakucho's like, I finally caught up to you. Watching the whole thing from the sidelines, that is not like you, Mikey. So exactly like what we've been saying throughout the last few chapter reviews, that this just doesn't feel like Mikey. Him standing back and watching from the sidelines isn't something that he'd normally do. Normally he'd be out there leading his men. And Mikey says, I thought I could just sit here and watch, but here you are, Kakucho. Kakucho's like, I've always wanted to fight you. And that's kind of where it leaves us with Mikey and Kakucho for this chapter, and it jumps straight back over to the South and Senju kind of mishap that we were having towards the end of last chapter, the big fight that was about to go down between the two of them. And obviously, I don't know if everyone's seen, but there have been some spoilers circulating around the community of what could possibly be going down at the end of this chapter, and I can tell you that this chapter is phenomenal when it comes to, like artwork and just the way everything has been done throughout it so far. Takomi's like telling Senju to stop, to get away from South because he doesn't believe that she's obviously strong enough to try and defeat him. He's like, it's too early for you to take on South. The three of us can handle this fight. So he thinks that the three older Black Dragons members are still strong enough to be able to take down Terano somehow. Senju like snaps back at him almost immediately and tells him to shut his mouth. So finally we're getting her, her dominance. This is why she's known as the leader of Brahmin in the first place. The dominance that she has over everyone else, even her older brother. And we finally kind of get a little bit of a backstory, I guess, on why she became the leader of Brahmin. But before that happens, we get her running and she's like, but at this point, Brahmin is done for. So she believes, like if she doesn't intervene in the fight against South will single-handedly take down the rest of Brahmin's higher-ups and, destroy the morale that is running throughout the gang at the moment. And we see that the first run-in Senju does actually gets completely repelled by South, and this massive like swing back on her that he does, and he hits her directly in like the side of the face just below the eye and sends her kind of flying back across the concrete, similar to how Benkei sent South flying across the concrete earlier in the chapters beforehand. And you see her face here extremely determined, like blood spitting out of her mouth while water comes off her hair. It's some really, really nice artwork throughout this entire chapter. Takomi's like, that's enough, Senju. You're underestimating Waka and Benkei. There's no way you can win this fight. And still Takemichi, who are like, this is why I don't believe that this is the end result or the end battle of this entire chapter here, is because Takemichi has really had nothing to do with it. Like the main character of the entire series has had nothing or little to do with this entire kind of conflict that's going on here. He's just standing watching it, like he's so confused as to what's going on. He's like, Akashi-san, what do you mean by that? And this is kind of the little bit of backstory, I guess, that we were given through Takomi. And he says here, he's like, Senju got herself included in the three deities only through first generation's Black Dragon supports. Senju can't take this fight alone. And Takemichi's like, this is bad. Like, obviously, if that is the actual case and that is where she's getting all her strength from, then that is, terrible, and it wouldn't make sense for her to be going up against South right now in a 1v1 fight. So it's quite odd, I guess, that Senju is going up in front of South right now, while these guys are all looking at her like, what are you doing? And Takomi screams out, he's like, I was wrong, Senju. I lost my cool. You don't have to do the same thing. Get out of there while you still can. And as Senju runs in, she like has her eyes closed, kind of just feeling the fight, you can see. And she opens them and you get this extremely alive kind of aspect coming out of her eyes where she looks like she's just staring into the soul of like the reader, or staring into the soul of South as she looks at him as he swings a punch at her. And then she drops down directly below him, and you get, I think this is probably one of the coolest design panels that I've seen in a while, especially out of Tokyo Revengers, because the water that's coming off her hair is almost like fire in a way, coming out of her eyes as you see this glare or this glint coming down from the pupil. As she ducks down, it goes up and over her forehead, and it looks absolutely stunning, like completely amazing. You can see that Terano was completely taken by shock from it, and he did not expect her to be able to dodge his punch. But she throws her head down completely and grabs his arm, and like, because there's no like key or anything like this in the series, the idea of like smoke or the water kind of going off her and being like the flames that she's emitting, or being like the key that she's emitting, looks quite cool, I think. Like the flames coming off her hand here as she lands her hand onto Terano's arm and then like pushes herself up and kicks him in the head. And then like as she's kicking him in the head, you see the flames coming off the back of her, and then she pulls her leg back and does like a flying spinning kick thing, where she does like a double twist in the air and then lands back down on Terano, like sending her leg straight down into like his neck area, between his neck and his shoulder, almost knocking him out unconscious in that entire movement right there. And while this is all going down, it kind of flicks into a flashback in Senju's head, or like some memories start to come back for her, and she's thinking of something that Takomi said to her. He said like, money is power. And she remembers that that's right, it was around this time that she realized how her abilities could lead Takomi on the wrong path. And Takomi's like, how valuable do you think your strength is? So obviously she knew that she was strong the entire time, but chose to purposely, I guess, weaken herself in front of others, because she knew that if she was the strongest, it could possibly lead Takomi down the wrong path. Or at least that's kind of what I'm getting from this here. And she's finally decided to show her true colors here, standing over the top of a defeated Terano. Like, just like I said in the spoiler video, glaring over towards Takomi. And I think just before we switch over to the last panel of the chapter here, which we all have seen in the spoiler video if you have watched it, just the entire panel itself of Senju standing over the top of Terano's body, while her like the top of her body is literally on fire. It looks absolutely amazing. It's probably some of the coolest artwork that I've seen in a while from the Tokyo Revengers story, definitely. Like, you don't get anything like this, like the mystical kind of effects or anything like that. So it's quite cool to see something different. Maybe it's the speed that she's moving at that's setting the rain around her on fire, that she moves so quick, or something like that. Something odd, but extremely interesting. And even Takemichi's like, that's crazy. So I'm wondering if these effects of like the rain being on fire are almost visible to everyone else as well as the reader. And she turns and looks at Takomi in the final panel, and like we'd all suspected, she says, Brahman's boss is me, and this is Senju's true strength. So obviously that is extremely exciting. So it's finally confirmed that I guess Senju is stronger than Takomi and Waka and Benkei and Brahman, making her the strongest by far, and she's kind of just hidden her strength in the past to make sure that her brother didn't use it to his own advantage, I would say. Or more or less, that's kind of what I've read from that situation. If you guys think any differently, be sure to chuck a comment down below and let me know what you think. I'm a little bit annoyed at the fact that Terano's been taken down so easily here, or he seems to have been taken down so easily here, with the wide-eyed kind of expression that he was giving off. It looks like he has completely dropped to the floor and is knocked out at Senju's feet. So I'm really kind of curious and wondering, is he going to be able to get back up from this? We just got introduced to his dark impulses, so surely it would be a bit too short to cut him off here now, thinking that he's going to be like a massive part of this entire arc, or at least, you know, like that's how I was expecting. So it's quite odd, or it's quite random to think that Senju literally just dispatched him in about 4 or 5 kicks or 4 or 5 moves while in the air. So it's completely impressive, insanely impressive. So the Senju versus Mikey fight could be something else to like withhold. They could be literally fighting in midair and doing some Dragon Ball stuff for all I know. But I'm really curious to wonder what's going to go down between Kakucho and Mikey. If Kakucho's going to let Mikey know what's happened to Draken, you know, that he's been shot. Because I would suspect that he probably is. That's how I'm suspecting Mikey's going to find out about it. But yeah, as I've just said, I'd love to know what you guys all think down in the comment section below. And if you guys are new around here and want to keep up to date with the latest Tokyo Revengers reviews and just other anime content in general, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also be sure to leave a like on the video, as it really helps out with the algorithm and pushes my stuff to a bunch of new amazing people. But anyway, enough of that. For now, it's been your professional degenerate, Diavolo, and I'll see you all in a bit. Bye.